Welcome, welcome, welcome to my third ever live. Let me start getting set up here. So I've got all my materials, but I have to get my bearings on this whole going live thing. Anytime something is relatively new for me, it takes me a few seconds to just get comfortable with it. So, okay, Kathy S is here. Chantal is here. Monkey is here. Charlotte is here. Hi. So if you guys are coming in live, just let me know where you're coming in from. I love to hear where people are coming in from. So it's 1 o'clock right now, and I'm just going to give this a couple minutes while people come in, because if they come in even a minute or two late and I'm sort of in the middle of discussing what I'm going to do here live, what I'm going to attempt to do, this is going to be a Houdini-like thing, then it could be pretty funny. So, all right, so many people: Netherlands, Long Island, North Carolina, Southern California, Virginia, Monrovia, California, St. Paul, Minnesota, Lexington, Kentucky, mid-Missouri, Southern Oregon. Okay, super cool. All right, so it is 1:01. Let's just give it one more minute before I start talking about what I'm doing. So if you're here, leave me a comment and let me know, have you taken the course Watercolor for Relaxation? Have you taken the course, or are you just Watercolor for Relaxation curious at this point? So, all right, let me know in the comments if you've taken the course, or maybe you're just someone who's figured out on your own the benefits of simple watercoloring and how much it relaxes your nervous system. So JM says no. Gretchen says she's in the middle of the watercolor course. Monkey says no. Oh, hi, Ulrika. So good to see you. Donna says she just bought the course. Shiny Thing Studio says she took imperfect lettering, covered some of the materials. Yes. Okay. So we've got a mix here of people who are in the course and not. So let me tell you guys what's behind today's live. So I very recently decided that I'm going to make more of an effort to connect with people using the YouTube platform, since Instagram is at best challenging and at worst just downright no longer feeling the love that it used to feel. So I decided, you know what, 2025, I'm really going to try to use YouTube. And it's been something that I've resisted for the most part for a very long time, but okay, I'm not a total nincompoop. I'm not going to resist forever. So anyway, so YouTube is great because when you start making videos, people have questions and they suggest the kind of information that they want. And then it's like, oh, okay, I make a video, someone suggests something that leads to another video. That's great. So I had started making these videos about color harmony. So if you can tell me in the comments, have you watched my videos about color harmony yet? Because if you have not watched my color harmony videos yet, this is not going to make a ton of sense right off the bat, but it'll make sense as we go on. So, okay, so Donna's saying she hasn't watched them. Anne is saying she hasn't watched them. All right, so this is good to know, because if I know that people have not watched them, I'll do more of a full explanation. Shiny Thing Studio says she absolutely watched. Great stuff. Ruth watched. Cheryl watched. Okay, so sorry, you guys. I'm going to do a little bit of review. So let me try to do as quick of a review as I possibly can on what color harmony is. So if you look at a painting, you can kind of know right off the bat whether the painting feels harmonious or not. And what I mean by harmonious is, are the colors in the work speaking to each other and having a conversation with each other? Or do the colors feel like they are battling it out and having a fight. So I'm not here to be the color harmony police. People can paint any way that they want to paint. And I also have no idea why the idea of color harmony is like a personal obsession of mine. But I am personally obsessed with the idea of color harmony. And I love exploring it really deeply. I love painting using the techniques of color harmony. And it's just completely satisfying to me to work in this way, to, again, to explore it, to teach it to other people. I just absolutely love it. So that's what color harmony is. Does anyone have any questions about what color harmony is? Or does watching me flip through these pages give you a very good idea of what the purpose of harmonizing color is? Can you guys see from these paintings that the colors on the page are talking to each other and they're having a conversation with each other? Does that make sense? Yummy, satisfying spreads, says Melodine. Yes, my goal is to have the most yummy, most satisfying spreads in my journals because it's delicious. It gives me joy. My joy is infectious. I'm literally sitting here, I'm flipping through the pages of this journal and it's making me happy. And it just is giving me joy. What can I say? Even sad stuff. Like this is about very, very sad subject matter. And it just makes me happier to see paint colors harmonized on a page. So Lisa and the Cool Gem, Lisa and the Cool Gem said, your work is mesmerizing to me. Just love looking at them forever. So here's the thing. I'm here to tell you that you also can have harmonized spreads. Oh, this is so interesting. So there's ads that are popping up. Okay. So we'll be in the middle of a live and there'll be ads. Okay. This is how people who are on YouTube get compensated for their YouTube videos, FYI. It is a little bit annoying to have it pop up in the middle of a live, and I didn't realize that was going to happen. But yes, thank you for the nice compliment, Lisa, and the Cool Gem. Thank you for saying that my work is mesmerizing. That makes me feel really, really, really happy to know that that's how people feel about my work. It brings me so much joy just to paint in this way. And all right, so I highly recommend that after you watch the video today, that after you're here live with me, that you go back to my YouTube channel and you do a full viewing of all of my playlist on color harmony, because that's going to explain a lot, and it's going to explain it in sort of a less chaotic way than I am going to explain it here, because the purpose of this video is very intentional. So someone asked me in the comments section of my videos on color harmony if they could achieve color harmony even with very inexpensive watercolor. And honestly, I have a hunch that the answer is yes. I also have a hunch that going through the exploration of that question is also going to yield very good teaching lessons for me and for everybody else. So I gathered up my cheapest watercolor. I have a very extensive collection of watercolor from the most cheap to the most expensive, and I pulled together the absolute cheapest stuff. So here is something that you get in the United States at Michael's. They probably also sell it at Walmart. And it is like this chalky, weird thing that they call watercolor. It is beautiful though. The colors in it are very, very beautiful, but it was, at least when I bought it probably like 7 years ago, this was, I believe, $5 US. So it literally does not get cheaper than this. Okay. Then we've got this watercolor that comes in a tube that is no longer being sold. It was under this brand Reeves. So I don't know if you guys have Reeves watercolor, but this would be another great one. I happen to really like these. I don't know what I'm missing and what happened with one of the colors, but I remember painting a lot with these and being very impressed with how amazing they are. And they were cheap as all get out. If anyone is on their computer and wants to go on maybe Amazon and just see if these watercolors are being sold anymore, this brand Reeves, Reeves. Okay, Anne, when you said I have that and I think it works okay, are you referring to the $5 set from Michaels, or are you referring to the Reeves? The Reeves I know definitely works okay. I think the whole set might have been like $9.99 or something like that. Okay, Kat is asking a question about the watercolor sketchbooks. So let's get that out of the way right now. So I make my own watercolor sketchbooks from scratch. I have a course on how to do this. It's called the Willa Journals course. Now you don't have to use my course in order to make a watercolor sketchbook. I'm just gonna grab some more of them over here, but I like to work in my own journals because there's something very tactile about it. There is something that just lends itself to that yummy feeling. And I like to choose the paper that I bind into the book. And I'm not going to go into the paper and all of that stuff on this video. If you want information about that, I'm sorry, you are going to have to take my course, Watercolor for Relaxation. That's where I go into all the details on what is the paper and all of that stuff. But you really, honestly, you can figure this out if you want to. You just make your own books. Like you can buy whatever watercolor paper you want to purchase, and you can bind it into the journal of your choice. There's a million ways to make journals. I like to make the covers. I like the covers to feel a certain way. I like to have the paper that I want to have. And so I've got many of these journals. Let's see. And yeah, I really like the way that the decal edge looks. So that's like a super important part of that yummy feeling for me, is the decal edge. So I'm kind of hooked. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm kind of hooked. These are different papers in the different journals. I think you can kind of tell like this one, it has all this like sort of lumpiness to it, but it actually kind of lends itself to looking pretty cool. But okay, so the course is the Willa Journals course on Willa Wanders, WILLA-WANDERS. I'm actually going to put my website, WillaWanders.com. Let's see if I can make WillaWanders.com a pin. Yeah, I'm pinning the message. So WillaWanders.com is where you're going to find everything about the courses I offer, who I am as a person, what I do in this world. It's all on WillaWanders.com. Okay, and let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. So, okay, Julie says Amazon has it for $17. So that's really good. So we're back to talking about the different really inexpensive watercolors. So I'm excited to hear that Amazon is selling this Reeves watercolor set for $17. That's great. Okay, the other two very inexpensive watercolor sets that I have are Prang and Crayola. I'm pretty sure this is Crayola. So it's a funny story about how I ended up with a Prang kit and a Crayola kit, and I'm not 5 years old. So we took a trip a few years ago for the holiday vacation, and I shipped down a gigantic box of art supplies to the condominium that we were renting out for 2 weeks. And the supplies did not show up on day one. And there was like a whole thing. It was a holiday. It was like Christmas. And there were days and days where I couldn't receive my box. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go to the pharmacy and I'm going to go to the supermarket and I'm going to get whatever watercolors they sell. And I'm going to use those to make art with, because I did not at the time feel like I could just go days without making art. I think now I've gotten it a little bit more out of my system to the point where I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't miss a day. But at the time I was truly like that obsessed. And I did not feel like I could miss a day. So anyway, so that's how I ended up with a Crayola set and a praying set. And these are literally like a few dollars. Okay. This is the lowest cost watercolor. They even both come with a brush, which is funny because this brush is probably, well, I don't know. Maybe it's okay. Who knows? Anyway, I'm not going to use the praying brush. I'm going to use my favorite brushes. So let's just go through this quickly. My favorite watercolor brushes at this point in time for relaxation painting. This is different than the brushes that I prefer for leaves and florals. But for relaxation painting, without a doubt, my favorite brushes are made by Yasutomo, and they are called the Fusion Brush line. And I know it's under $25 US for 5 brushes. So I do not make money from this, guys. I'm just going to write this in because everybody wants to know. So Yasutomo Fusion Brushes. Yasutomo. Okay, I got that. Okay, so it's Yasutomo Fusion Brushes. I'm going to paint today with a number 4. They come in 5 sizes, all the way down or all the way up from this tiny size 1 that you can do really fine details to a number 5, which is bigger than the number 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the whole set is like, it's either under $20 or under $25. And they are seriously amazing brushes. You will never, ever regret getting Yasutomo Fusion brushes if you are a watercolorist. I'm very happy with them. Okay, then for today, because I'm just fooling around and I'm not painting anything quote unquote serious that I would really want to keep, and I also am testing, so I have a testing journal. This was gifted to me by the company Etcher, ETCHR Lab. I believe they're an Australian company. And the reason why I really fell in love with these books is because the paper in them is so high quality, and not all inexpensive paper is terrible. There's a lot actually of inexpensive watercolor paper that's pretty good. But then there's a lot of reasonably priced or mid-range watercolor papers that I have found are terrible. They're just terrible. So anyway, I would only paint on something that I recommend. This is not an inexpensive sketchbook, but I think it's worth the money. This is the highest end Etcher Lab sketchbook there is. If you're not going to make your own watercolor sketchbooks, okay, if you're not going to take the Willa Journals class or figure out your own journals, but you want to paint in something that has a decal edge paper. It doesn't have the decal edge on all the sides, but it does have it on the left and the right. If you want decal edge paper already bound into a commercial sketchbook with a high quality watercolor paper, then yes, you can use this Etcher Labs sketchbook. I do really enjoy it. Okay, so we're almost there. Okay. Just want to make sure you guys can see everything. Okay, I think for subtitles, honestly, I don't know if I control subtitles or you control subtitles, Lisa. So I think if somebody knows about this and can advise Lisa, I think it's a setting that you have. Let me just dink around though and see if I can find something having to do with that. Yeah, I think you guys control whether or not you see subtitles. If anyone has any advice on that, please provide that advice to Lisa. Oh, Jessica's saying in the USA, the Reeves watercolors are unavailable. Okay, Vivian is saying, I need to turn on the closed captioning. Okay, so let me see. There is a setting. Oh, CC. Oh, it says CC is unavailable. Okay, here's what I think, guys. This is going to be my guess. While I'm here live, it may not be able to provide live closed captioning, but after this video is done being live and it's just regularly stored on YouTube, I would imagine that at that point, that's when the closed captioning would be available. That's my guess. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try to slow down my talking. Yeah, I think it's just because this is live. Yeah. Okay, all right. I think we have that settled. I think. I can't be sure. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. There are many different ways to achieve color harmony. They're all employing something that I loosely call the mother method. Okay, guys? So if you're not familiar with the mother method, please watch my previous videos. But the first step in harmonizing color, well, I say the first step. There are many ways to use the mother method. Okay, I can think of at least 4 to 5 different variations on the mother method, and I am going to actually make a full video on the different ways that someone could achieve the mother method. But for today's video, what I'm going to do is what I did in one of my other previous videos, which is I am going to create a mother color. Okay, I'm going to create a mother color. And what the mother color is going to be is it's going to be a mix of all of the colors that I plan to use on any given painting day. So I already have some color in my palette, and I don't have to wash it out, because why would I dump out this color if I can just keep using this color? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of every color from this palette. So you saw that I already just put some water into my palette. And I'm going to go grab some of that pigment. Now, something about cheap watercolors that I can kind of already tell is the pigment load is probably really, really low on these. What is this? This is the Prang set. Yeah, like you just don't get a lot of pigment, which is fine. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get great results. It's just a little bit different. But I'm mixing all of the colors up to get mud. And what this is going to do is this is going to be something that I work with as I paint. Oh, see, I already see this color is actually really pretty. I just have to put a little sample of it on here because I think I love the different like earthy greens. And there you have it. Like I already found a color that I really like, and so I don't need to worry about, oh, everybody has to have expensive watercolors, because look at that. That's already pretty. Okay, anyway, let me go back to keep making my mud. I'm just going to keep putting some of every color into here. So that I have my mother color. So let me know, are you guys painting watercolor? Are you guys doing what I'm doing? Or are you just, collaging or doing something else entirely and listening and just kind of hanging out and kibitzing? Let me know if you're currently mixing up a mother. Oh, my daughter Maya is here. Maya Solganic is studying her accounting. Tracy's just watching me paint. Sin is learning and taking notes, just hanging out. Okay, so this palette also has black in it, so I'm gonna put some black in there, and it's, wow, it's really gonna darken it up. But it looks like actually it might be kind of a beautiful mud. Okay, so let's see what my mud looks like. Oh man, That is very dark. Okay, maybe putting that black in it might have kind of seriously destroyed everything else, but it's fine. I mean, it'll still work as a mud, but maybe that's a little bit intense. So what I'm going to do, I've never worked with these really, not in a long time. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to get some more of the other colors, because I mean, you don't have to go for something that looks like actual dirt, but it's not a bad idea, not a horrible idea to have your mother color. Just, you're looking for this thing called neutral tint. So if you're familiar with neutral tint, that's sold. A lot of brands, a lot of watercolor brands have a color that they call neutral tint. Sid is, or Sin is saying that mud looks more like tar. My mud looks like tar. That wasn't what I was going for. I should have resisted the urge and just left that black out, because I probably wasn't going to paint with the black anyway today. All right, let's just see for kicks and giggles now. At what state is my mud in? Oh man, that is really dark. Okay, that's really dark. Okay, there's a lesson in this, guys. Do not put a whole bunch of black into your color, because it will literally turn the whole thing to black. All right, I think there's no way out of this at this point. So, okay, that's going to be my mud. It is what it is. That is going to be my mud. So here is the big question. Can you paint with these colors and achieve a beautiful color harmony? So I'm just going to start mixing up color and just grabbing a tiny bit of that mud. Sorry, I missed these. And seeing what kind of color I can get out of this Prang palette. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint leaf shapes. It's just a very simple shape, because rectangles can get boring after a while. Actually, it's a pretty lovely color. There's nothing wrong with that. So that color was essentially just the red from the palette and a little bit of my mother color, my mud color. And now I'm just curious. So that's what I do. I follow my curiosity. So I go, oh, I'm curious, what would happen to that color if I put a little bit more of my mother in it? And I'm always, it's like, my curiosity only extends to this question. Will I like the next color I have painted with? Okay, that's it. It's not that deep. It's just, that's the question. Will I like it? All right, not that different. Not that different at all. So then I go, okay, that wasn't that different. Let's grab a little bit more and see what happens if I put a lot of that mud color in there. Will I like that color? That's an interesting color. It's kind of like a raspberry, like a deep, interesting color. So can you see how these colors are having a conversation? Those colors are having a conversation. Now maybe I go, I want to bring it back a little. I'm going to put more of the original red color in. Kind of digging what's going on here. Can you guys hear the birds out my window? All right, so fun. There's harmony going on. Obviously, there's harmony because this is a no fail method. I'm gonna reveal that this is a no fail method. All right. So now my question is, what color is going to be the next color that I put in? And I'm going to do something quite radical. I'm going to grab a little bit of this green, just a little bit of it, and I'm going to mix it in. I can see from here it hasn't changed that much, so I'm going to grab a little bit more. I'm going to mix more in. Now I can see there's really been a change. So can you see that what I have going on is already a mix of this red, a mix of my mother, and now some of this green. So there's like no way that these colors will not be in conversation with each other. And they look beautiful together. That's a beautiful color. Like that, I'm blown away. This is the cheapest of the cheap watercolor, and I'm so already just satisfied. That's gorgeous. I think we have our answer. I think we can call it a day. You can definitely do the mother method with really cheap watercolors. What do you guys think? It's totally possible. That's gorgeous. Okay, so now if I was painting like a quote unquote real painting in my watercolor for relaxation journal, since I've now come upon a color that I find really satisfying, what I would usually do is I would repeat that somewhere else, because it's like if I've got it once and I love it, why not get it in my painting a few times? And that will help draw the eye around the painting. Now, I'm not doing any fancy watercoloring here. I'm not doing wet into wet. I'm just doing a wet on dry, and I'm letting the paint dry naturally. I'm not trying to fix the places within a leaf where some parts of the leaf are drying faster than in the other parts. So I don't know if you guys know this, but if your leaf is drying unevenly, that's when you get what's called a bloom as it dries, because one part is drying faster than another part. I personally love the blooms, so I don't touch the blooms, but other people don't like it. So they have to nurse their shapes to make sure that the whole shape is drying evenly. That's not something that I would do because I like the more modern, sort of fun, more abstract type of watercolor. So, okay, so now where's my curiosity taking me? I want to see what happens if I put even more of this green in here. And I'm thinking a little bit more water. So I'm going to actually go, let me see if I can have you see this. I'm going to go grab some more water. And I don't mind that my water is dirty because that's great. That helps the conversation. I'm not rinsing my brush out. I'm not swishing it around. I'm just letting it soak up some water and getting some more water in here. That's a beautiful brown. So you guys, you see how great this is? You see how great this method is? You just achieve color harmony. It's like color harmony magic, no stress. You always have color harmony. The colors are always speaking to each other. You're not rinsing color out of your brush and then picking up a whole new color that doesn't relate. You are mixing color. So okay, let's go a little crazy and let's add some yellow to our mix here and see what happens. I don't mind browns and sort of neutral colors. Not everybody likes that. You don't have to paint as neutral as I do. I like kind of seeing the wide variety of neutrals to a degree. I don't want it to be all neutrals. That's an interesting brown color. It's kind of like a greenish brown color. I actually really like that color, so I'm going to paint that color again. I really like that color. I'll paint it one more time. And I'm going to look at the comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Okay, Berlina says, so glad you use a praying set for this. It's such an accessible set and the colors are quite good. Yeah, they really are. This is great low pressure painting. I totally agree with you, Berlina. All right, I think I'm curious now if I go back into my original red and see what happens if I add some more of that red. I can see already it's another brown, but it'll be a little bit different. Another beautiful brown. I'm going to paint another of those. Really pretty colors. I kind of want to, I'm trying to bring it back to a more pure color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put water in my brush and I'm going to grab more of the pure red and I'm going to go to a different well here and I'm just going to kind of mix it with water and my brush over here, because if I go back, sometimes your color that's in your well, it's so neutralized and there's so much of it that it becomes very, very difficult to change the hue. Hue is another word for color. And it can become very difficult to change the hue unless you move into another well. So that's why you saw me just move over into another well. Now, if I wasn't painting on camera, I'd be moving my book around. I wouldn't be holding it in one position. I'm just doing that because I'm trying to paint on camera. All right, so I'm gonna grab a little bit more of that red. I want something that's a little more with the color. I'm not looking for such a neutral. But I mean, I think this is gorgeous. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. This is completely harmonized. The colors are conversing with each other. If you could do any painting, you could do any pattern, you could do any style, and you would end up with something totally harmonized. Don Mosley says it proves finally that paper matters more than pigment. I think you are right there. I think you are right. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. So now I'm just going to pick up a little more of the yellow. I'm just going to have a little yellow curiosity here and mix that in, not into the well that has a lot of the color, because again, just very difficult to change that once there's a lot of color in there. So, because I do want to see some change here. The other thing you can do is once your leaf is down, if it's feeling a little bit dry, you can just charge in more color. So these are called washes, if you don't know that already. But everything that you mix up is called a wash. And wet into wet is when you have wet on your paper, so you have a wet shape, and then you are taking your wet wash and you are charging it in. That's charging in color into your wet wash. So I'm digging that color. But I like all the colors, so I don't have a problem with painting because I like all the colors. It's like I don't know, I can always mix up a color that I think is really beautiful and interesting and sophisticated. All right, let's see. I'm trying to like get more of this yellow in to see if I can really yellow it up. Grab a little more water. Again, not mixing out the pigment, just grabbing more water. The other thing that's coming to my mind is when I paint, I most of the time do not have a specific color goal in mind. I just start painting and it reveals itself, and I'm always fine with it. Because I'm just painting for relaxation. There's no high stakes here. I'm not trying to create a painting that I'm selling. So it's truly just for fun and relaxation. It relaxes my nervous system because I have to slow down and concentrate, and I'm using my hands, and it's relatively easy. So that's a thing about flow state, is you really will not go into flow state if what you're doing is very difficult for you. Oh, I can see that I've kind of gone off of the camera here. So I want to reposition myself. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm repositioning. So I really like this color. I'm going to paint with that one again. It's like a caramel color. Let's get something up here. I'm painting in weird angles. I would normally completely never do this, but I'm doing it for you guys. Which is fun too. Something to try is like holding your brush at different places so that you have less control. I think you can see I'm holding my brush pretty tightly, but if I want to do looser painting, all I have to do is hold my brush at the end, and I can do more loose abstract painting. So let's try that. Let's see what happens. All right, so I think my curiosity is lending itself toward picking up some of the mother color and going back into this color that I've created, this caramel color, and seeing if I now like the mother color there. And I'm going to try to just hold my brush more loosely. Doesn't make that much of a difference to hold it loosely with this kind of painting, but it's definitely fun to try. And again, I have another color that I love. This is just a no-fail method, guys. There's never a color that I don't find beautiful and interesting. So, okay, that took a whole 43 minutes, and I explained the whole entire thing. And this is one version of painting with a mother method. It's not the only one. Like I said in the beginning, I am going to make one concise video going through all of the different ways to achieve this. But this is kind of, I would say, the most no-fail method is to start by mixing up a mother. Start by mixing. Your own, it's basically your own neutral tint. All right, does anyone have any questions about anything? That is a funky, ugly leaf shape. Okay, I'm gonna go back to having more control. All right, let's try to fix this because this is ugly. This is an ugly leaf. All right, we're gonna make a really big leaf. There you go. And this will be its stem. Funny. And this will now be its tip. All right, so what questions do you guys have? Leave a question in the comments and I will try to answer it. Okay, Kat is saying, would you eliminate any colors of the palette of ones you may not use in your painting? Kat, I'm going to ask you to ask me that question again because I'm not totally understanding it. It may be what you're asking about eliminating. I think, okay, if I'm guessing what you're saying, like if I had known that I was only going to be painting with these 4 colors, would I have just made a mother from these 4 colors? And the answer is yes. I absolutely could have made a mother just from those 4 colors. But like I mentioned, I often do not know what I'm going to do when I start painting. So, and also like if I was, well, no, I think the answer is I could either have mixed up a mother just from those 4, but actually having mixed up a mother from all of the colors, I'm getting absolutely gorgeous results. So I would have to test out. Let's do that. Okay, let's do that right now. Let me get a baby wipe and wipe out some of this. I'm going to make a new mother. I just have to find my baby wipes or get a towel. Oh, I found them. Okay. I think this is what you need. And let's test this theory out, okay? I have not thought of exactly what you're saying quite like you're saying it, but I think it's completely worth us trying this out. This is just a subject that I think has a lot of really fun, really nerdy exploration, explorative qualities to it. Like if you really love color and you really like experimenting, then color harmony is just a very fun play tool to experiment with. And really a lot of the relaxation painting for me is really just about seeing what colors are going to come out of what I'm doing. So, okay, so I'm going to mix a new mother and it's just going to have the red, orange, yellow, and green. The reason I'm washing the pigment out to do this is because I don't want to completely destroy the pan color. And there's so much pigment in my brush that it would really create quite a mess in there. Yeah, okay, Kat, for sure, if I had a palette with 30 colors, I would not be creating a mother color with 30 colors. That's just too many. Okay, so with those 4 colors, I get a very different mother color. And I'm actually going to go back and grab more of the red to see if I can turn it more brown. Because right now I have a very green mother. So let's see what happens if I grab more of the red. Yeah, that's getting more into what a mud looks like. Even gonna grab more of the orange. I did something I said I wasn't gonna do. Okay, so this, I'm satisfied with this at this point as a new mother color. That's actually a beautiful brown. So yeah, I think if you just want to use the colors that you're painting with, that's actually probably more of what I would do in real life painting. Is I would not be painting with all of the colors in a palette that I picked up. That's a beautiful, that's a stunning mud color in my opinion. I'm going to clean this well out and I'm going to basically do the same painting, but just using the new mother. And we will see if there's some kind of really big difference between the original mother that I created and the new mother. My guess is we're not going to see a huge difference, but that's just a guess. So I think we are answering your question. yeah, like when I sit down to paint, first of all, I always paint with a limited palette. Always. I never paint with all the colors of the rainbow. Or, well, that's not true. Okay, saying never, that's kind of hyperbolic. I oftentimes do not paint with all the colors in the rainbow. I oftentimes limit my palette just the way that I ended up doing here, which is I limited it to 4 of the colors in the palette. Okay, so let's go through this exercise again because I have so much pigment in my brush. I'm actually gonna paint one of my new leaves just in the mud color because it's actually a very pretty brown. My computer just went to sleep. Okay, hold on. From the Purcell household, Jan is asking what features of the Fusion brushes set them apart from other quality brushes. Well, the first thing that sets them apart is how completely inexpensive they are. And the second thing that sets them apart is that they hold a lot of water and you can paint with very precision lines. You just have very precision strokes. So I'd say those 3 things: inexpensive, holds a lot of water, paints very precisely, is what qualifies it in my book to be just a great thing to recommend to people. If you already have brushes you love, there's absolutely no reason to go buy new brushes. But if you're new to this, and a lot of people are, I mean, a lot of people who find me have never done any painting at all, and then I would say, oh, guess what? Great brushes, really inexpensive, like no brainer, just get these brushes. Okay, so we're gonna start over again. And we're gonna start with our red pigment. And I almost never would put a pure pigment into a painting. I would always take just a little bit of something that was going to harmonize that and bring it into the conversation. Even if it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, I'm going to want that color to have a hope of having a conversation. If you paint with something totally pure out of a palette, you lose all hope of a conversation. But you're going to see, it's like, it's hard to even tell. It's something that it may not even be obvious, you know, to the eye that the other color is in there. Maya, are you still with us? Hi, Jean. All right, so I got my first color in there, and now I'm just gonna play. I'm just gonna move between these 4 colors and my mother mud color. So it's literally, I just go from curiosity to curiosity. What happens if I add this? And I'm always painting very simple shapes. I'm not trying to create some super impressive thing, because that would take it out of the realm of being pretty easy for me. And when you take it out of the realm of being easy, that's when you lose the flow state. Flow state comes when something is a little bit challenging. So here's where this is a little bit challenging. It's a little bit challenging to puzzle these shapes together. It's a little bit challenging always to mix color, because I do have to kind of think a little bit about it. All right, what happens if I add some orange? I'm gonna also need some more water. Dawn is saying that she always has to keep getting extra mixing wells because my curiosity has me mixing up lots of color combos. So I don't tend to use a lot of mixing wells, because I'm trying to harmonize color. So I more tend to stick with a few wells that I paint with, and that way the conversation remains. If I start moving into having so many wells, then the colors start to not be having a conversation with each other. Does that make sense? Deb, I'm using a Fusion number 4. You could use a Fusion number 5, a Fusion number 3, but I am right now using the 4. And just going with my curiosity. And this is me on my second mother, a more limited mother. Seeing if there's some kind of big difference between all the colors in a mother or only the colors that I'm using in a mother. I think we lost my daughter, Maya. She said she was here studying her accounting, but maybe she couldn't concentrate listening to me talk about color. Maybe it was making her want to paint too much. Maya is the reason Willa Workshops even exists. For those of you guys who have not heard the story of Willa Workshops, it would not exist without my daughter Maya. So Maya, if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I'm curious about picking up more of the mother and putting it into the wash that I'm painting with. So I'll do that. All right, let me know if you guys have been here from the beginning, if this is starting to just make complete, total sense to you, and whether or not you're feeling like really confident about mixing color. Because I'm feeling pretty confident about it. I'm also feeling much more confident about teaching it. The more I teach it, the more confidence I have. The more I teach it, the more I see that it's a no-fail method. I love this. I think that this other one that I did is so beautiful. All right, Charlotte is saying definitely. Karen says she's getting it. Terry says, I love mixing colors now. Oh my gosh, Vivi loves paper, says I feel so much more confident. You guys, this makes me so happy. You have no idea. Lisa, she's feeling so much more confident. Jane's, oh, thank you, Jane. That's very kind. Jane says I'm a good teacher. So if you're interested in my full course on this, it's called Watercolor for Relaxation. And obviously I do a lot more than painting just leaves. In fact, I don't even know if I paint any leaves in that course. I do a lot of pattern painting. I go through all of the things that anyone would need to know about watercolor so that you become a very confident person with the medium of watercolor. I go through obviously mixing color, and I go through how I prepare my paper, what paper I use, all of that stuff. And you can find that at willawanders.com. So at my website, Willa Wanders, it has all the courses, everything that I teach, and everything that I'm super passionate about. So I have quite a few artistic pursuits. One of them is watercolor. I also happen to love collage and hand lettering. I love mixed media art, art journaling. So I do a lot of different things. I don't just limit myself to one thing. Oh, thanks, Ruth. Ruth said, I became a lot more confident after following the Watercolor for Relaxation course. So just so you know, this applies to any kind of painting that you're doing. If you're doing acrylics, you can make a mother for your acrylics. If you are painting with oil painting, you can do that. Where it becomes more tricky is if you're using dry mediums like pastels or colored pencils. There probably are ways to harmonize your color with those mediums. It's just not something that I'm personally familiar with because I really only paint with wet media. All right, Charlotte just made an interesting comment. Charlotte said, it makes me not feel like I have to stop and order expensive watercolors when I watch videos. I can try out techniques with what I have instead of buying new and better supplies. So, okay, Charlotte, I have thought a lot about this because it's definitely a pattern. It's like a human pattern that is clearly prevalent in every course that you teach, in every video that you make. People want to know what brand are you using, and they want to know exactly what colors you're using. And I hope that if people see my videos, that they really understand that the way that I paint has nothing to do with the brand of paints or the colors of paints that I'm using. It has to do with knowledge and practice. And it's the knowledge is not that deep, right? I mean, you guys, I have already told you everything about color mixing right here. I mean, again, I'm going to make another video on different ways to achieve color harmony, but this way that I just did it, you don't need that much more knowledge than this. You don't really need any more knowledge than this. And you certainly don't need any more colors than you already have. Having more colors is not going to make your painting better. I would say just a basic understanding of how to harmonize color. That's another thing. People don't talk about they don't talk about the term harmonizing color nearly enough. I don't think. I only see like a few people ever mentioning it, but for me, it's like a hugely important part of my artistic process. And the easiest medium to do it with is watercolor. With acrylics, you have to take an extra step. Like if you're doing jelly printing with acrylics, you have to take an extra step and mix up your colors instead of going straight from the tube. But it's worth it. I should take more time to do it with acrylics. That to me is a gorgeous, gorgeous like army green. So I'm gonna, so actually, can you guys see much of a difference between the two different mothers? I don't see much of a difference here. I don't think it matters whether your mother has extra colors in it or just the colors that you're using. It seems like it's yielding pretty similar results. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. Makes me excited. Hartley Hobbs said, this is such a great video. Thank you. You are very welcome. You are very welcome, everyone. Okay, so I could keep going on and on. I could try the Crayola. Maybe we'll just try one. Let's just for kicks and giggles at this point. I kind of want to try this chalky watercolor and see what happens. So let me clean out a well here. If you guys are willing to stick around, if you guys are not racing out the door, I'm just going to do a little bit more painting. I can almost guarantee it's going to work. Okay. Oh, I don't really even have to clean anything out because I have so many wells. All right. What I'm obviously not going to mix up a mother with every one of these colors. So I'm just going to have to choose which colors I'm going to paint with. And it's a little difficult because there's so many yummy colors here. But let me do it. All right. I'm going to mix up a little mother. All right. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this aside because you can't even see me mixing up the mother with all that going on. Okay. So hopefully you can see what I have going on here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to mix up a mother. This color looks good. this pink color. This teal color. Maybe a little more of the pink. Let's get a yellow. So if you're just coming on, I'm mixing up what's called a mother color or a mud color. We're talking about color harmony today. That is a really gross mother right there. Let's keep going. Now, there is no perfect mother color. A mother color can actually be any color. That's one of the things that I want to talk about in my next video on harmonizing. The mother color can be any color. In fact, your mother color could be one color out of your set. So, okay, so let's just see here. This whole thing is big. All right, so I've got to manage this. Got to manage this situation here. All right. I may not be able to get everything on the screen, but hopefully we will see enough here. So, okay. So I just mixed up a new mother. It had a pink, a teal, like a turquoise, yeah, what do you call that? Anyway, turquoise color, and it had a yellow. And I kind of don't want to paint on that page. Let's paint over here. All right, we're just gonna do this here just to see. Okay, there's our mud color. And let's just see what these chalky $5 watercolors do. So let's see, I can move this down and you can still see it, and I can move this down more. So I'm going to take a little bit of the mud and I'm going to put it in the pink. And I'm just going to, it's pretty gorgeous actually. Oh, it never fails. It just doesn't fail. It's a no-fail method. Okay. Let's just put a little bit more mud into the pink. Oh, another absolutely gorgeous color. All right, I thought I wasn't gonna like these, but actually, that's gorgeous. All right, let's get some of the turquoisey blue and grab some of the mother with that. Yeah, these are gorgeous colors. Ain't no problem with these colors, guys. Stunning. It's no fail. Can I say that again? It literally does not fail to produce stunning colors. Okay, all those colors look so similar, but that's okay. I'm not making anything special here. I'm just trying to see if these are going to yield some nice results. So this is just a 3-color palette with a mother. And I think that these paints would probably do well to have a lot of water. to just get some sort of variety. So you get some differences in tint. It's real muddy. Maybe these are a little bit harder to control. I don't know. Does anyone paint with these chalky watercolors? Yeah, I think it's a little harder to get variation with this set. I just added some pink to the yellow mix. It's an interesting neutral tone. Now I think I'll add some of the blue. So I'm able to start getting some nice variation in color. And they're very flat when they dry, a little bit more flat than some of the other watercolors. They don't have the same kind of life to them. Let's add a little pink to the mix. Yeah, I don't know if I would paint with these. They would definitely not be my preference. But you can get the same amount of variety of color just from a few simple colors. Zanny Love says that was the first, that's Bobby. She says that was the first palette that I ever got, so I would love to see what you can do with it. Look at the, I mean, we're getting a variety of color. That's not a question. That is completely achievable. So that's not where I would say these, there's no issue with getting a variety of color. Let's just say that. But as far as the watercolorness of them, it's almost, it just has a very different quality. They have a very different quality than your typical watercolors. But if you're going for flat color, they definitely can achieve flat color. I mean, they do a job. They do a job. That's a pretty color. All right. Any more questions before we stop for the day? Hi, Julie. If you just came on, we're sort of, I think, wrapping up here because I don't want to overextend myself, and I'm kind of feeling like this was a really good video as far as what I wanted to communicate and how effective it seems like it was communicated here. So mix up your mud, whether you mix it up with all the colors in your limited palette or only the colors that you want to paint with that day. Like maybe you've chosen 3 colors, 4 colors, or 5 colors that you're going to paint with that day. And you see it starts by mixing the mud color in, but you see how I paint. It's mixing in the mud and then being curious. What if I go back to a certain color? What if I mix it? You know, what if I mix all the colors? It's just, it's a series of questions and finding outs and moving around within that limited palette. And it's just very fun and very relaxing. And like I always say, my favorite thing is to listen to a book on Audible or a podcast and just to paint shapes. I find it very relaxing for my nervous system. I guess the more water you add to these, the better they are. So I think maybe I wasn't adding enough water. I think you need to use a lot of water. And then you can probably achieve what you're hoping to achieve. I mean, for the price, it's pretty amazing. I hope the person who came up with the idea for this video eventually catches on that, yeah, you know what? I wasn't using enough water and that's why they were feeling so chalky. So actually, I'm glad we stayed on. I'm glad we stayed on till the point where I realized that actually these colors are gorgeous. I take it all back. Okay, guys, I take it all back. The $5 Michaels watercolor set is just fine. These are pretty. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to go catch the Cleveland Browns that are playing right now and just relax for a while. Thank you so much for joining me live. You have no idea how happy this makes me. I really, really, really appreciate all the love and support and the community that is built around just making art for flow state and for relaxation, and not trying to, you know, not trying to figure out a way that we have to make art for a purpose. Like, the purpose is relaxing our nervous system. And to me, that's as good of a purpose as any. And I love that so many people are loving that idea and not staying away from art because they don't understand why they should make art. You know, like, why would I make art if I'm not trying to sell art in a gallery? Or why would I make art if I'm not trying to change the world? Like, you don't have to be trying to change the world to be an artist. You can just be trying to change something within yourself, just to calm yourself. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will see you again very soon.